Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 1996 Volvo 850 GLT Wagon. Up front is a 2.4 liter inline 5, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Volvo 850 for two reasons. First of all, I love this era of Volvo. I think a lot of people love this era of Volvo, so I'm always excited to get behind the wheel. It's my first Volvo of 2026, so I'm always happy about that. But the second reason is the fact that this vehicle has 331,000 miles on it. Original engine, original transmission. And so today we're going to be talking about kind of a golden era for Volvo, what makes these so good, and why everyone should own one. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2.4 liter inline 5. Well, there was a turbo version offered here in the 850 and even in the GLT. However, this is the non-turbo. It is a 20-valve engine, and the non-turbo part is what makes this so great. Sure, it doesn't make a whole lot of horsepower. I'll put it up on the screen now, but it has reliability. This engine is so incredibly stout that even up at 331,000 miles, not only is it still performing well, but I wouldn't hesitate to drive this on a road trip. And it doesn't sound bad either. I don't know if you heard much. These things really truly sound like V10s. A little bit, a hint of it. They're sort of in that same realm as a V10 in sound, and that's just crazy. Coming from a dad station wagon, which I love. But they make good power, they're very stout and reliable. That's what you want. And these are starting to go up in value because people are really understanding that. People are starting to learn that, hey, if you buy one of these with 100,000 miles on it, you have 200K minimum to go. And again, this vehicle is on its original engine and original transmission. The only issues with it right now is that the horn doesn't work and the AC isn't great. Those are the only mechanical issues with this car right now at 331,000 miles. Now, like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. Now, they did sell these with a manual. That's going to carry a lot bigger of a premium. A lot more people are going to want the manual transmission. However, we're dealing with the automatic, and again, it's the original unit. It has withstood the test of time, so it gets a pass in my book. Last but not least, the 850 GLT is front-wheel drive, and I don't mind it. Volvo started to switch to front-wheel drive in the 1990s. The 850 was one of the big pushing powers behind that. The older 240 was rear-wheel, so there you go. So how does it feel to drive the 850 GLT? It's nice. It does have a relatively comfortable ride for what it is. You know, compare this to like a BMW 5 Series in my head. That's kind of where I'm going with it. The steering is very, very light. Almost worryingly light, but very light. Throttle is relatively responsive, but also it's going through an automatic transmission. It's gonna be 30 years old this year. So, you know, but what it lacks in driving experience character, it's going to make up for with giving you a driving experience every single day of the week for many, many years. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have some pretty simple gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and coolant temperature, in the center is the speedometer, and off to the right is the tachometer. We do get a little information screen down below for our time and temperature, but then under the gauges, off to the left, we have our headlight switch and locking buttons, and off to the right, we have our tracks as well as our venting for the sunroof. On the steering wheel, don't get anything. We do get a horn button, but as I mentioned, it does not work. Off to the left, we do have two climate control vents. We have our gauge dimmer switch and fog light switch. And moving on to the door, we just have the latch to get in and out. The latch is kind of strange. You sort of use two fingers and pull it back. It's almost kind of fighter jetty style, which I really, really like. But no window switches. We'll talk about them later. Moving into the center, we do get two climate control vents and our climate controls, We have rear defrost and heated mirrors off to the left, but then our central climate controls in the center, dual zone climate, very, very nice for 1996. And then we get our radio that says premium sound system. No name, no, special version, just premium sound system. We have a cassette player and CD player. I assume the CD player was the premium part of that sound system. Treble, bass, and fader sliders. Overall, pretty neat. Then we do have a push-out ashtray, some coin holders, and a 12-volt outlet down below. You can also lift up this coin holder, and that's actually where the OBD2 sensor is. 1996 being the first year of this, they weren't really sure where to put it, so they put it under the coin holder. And heated seats. Very, very happy to see heated seats, especially on a day like today. Volvo, one of the first to utilize heated seats. Then we have the shifter in the center. Nothing too crazy there. And off to the right, this is where you'll find not only the power windows, but also your power mirror adjustments. Then we do get a handbrake, and we do get cup holders that slide out of the armrest. So we'll do a big friggin' bottle test. It so clearly and obviously fails, but pretty cool to have this sort of sliding cup holder here in the Volvo 850 GLT. The seats are comfortable, they are heated, and they are powered. Very, very nice features for 96. They make sure that you're comfortable, and the ride of the car is pretty comfortable as well. So overall, it's a rather endearing experience being behind the wheel of the 850. And I like that a lot. However, speaking of seats, we do have another row of seating, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the Volvo 850 GLT. We'll take a quick look before we actually get in. Love this leather. I know it has seen better days, but after 331,000 miles, I could only pray to look this good. But we will step in here. And once we are in the back, the 850 was not the absolute largest vehicle that they made, but pretty close to being their largest vehicle, and you really feel that with the knee room. We can come down here. We do get a little ashtray that pops out just like this, which is very, very neat. You also do get a center console. You could open this up. Oh, this is the child seat. Integrated booster cushion, US only. Interesting. I did not know that it was US only. So you see that these sort of pop out, and then this is actually a booster seat. Very, very cool. I forgot that they did this. So, kind of fun to play with. I don't know if you could read that label, but if you want to pause, you can. So very, very cool. Integrated booster seat. Absolutely love that. Headroom is also good. 5'11", not a small guy. I fit back here. I can sit up straight, and I'm not going to be in pain. I'm not going to bonk myself on the next speed bump. So tons and tons of great space. Now, I will say, some 850 wagons did have a rear-facing third row. This one does not. Please don't get your hopes up. But very, very cool nevertheless. Let's hop into the back. Let's see where that third row would be and talk about some cargo space. Really getting the Swedish feel here today. My gosh, he's missing an antler. Maybe he shed one. But coming around the back of the 850 wagon, little handle here just above the license plate. And once we are back here, as you can see, we do need a giant ice scraper because it is Chicago. But these two compartments is where the third row would normally be. Now they are just storage, so nothing too crazy there. But the idea was this would open up, this would be the back of the seat, and then this would actually flip over, and this would be the bottom of the seat. So just storage now, nothing too crazy beyond that. We do get a net, so you can put this up as a sort of divider, hooks in up there. And overall, tons and tons of space around the back of the Volvo 850. This was kind of its calling card. Not only was the bigger chassis more comfortable than like the 240s and whatnot, but you got that extra cargo space. And the wagon, of course, extra cargo space. Love it. So the one minor downside is that back here, this sort of interior panel rattles a lot. And so this is a very, very common Volvo 850 problem. These sort of rattle over time. That's just something you'll have to live with. So anyway, closing it back up, that's the back cargo space of a Volvo 850 GLT. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I don't think that this is like the prettiest car ever penned, ever designed, ever conceptualized, but it is very, very Volvo. When you think of a Volvo station wagon, if you don't think of a 240, you probably think of this. Very boxy, very unapologetically Volvo, very unaerodynamic. This car is allergic to drag coefficiencies, and it is red. You know, I like how bright it is. I really like the look of it. I don't think it's like this beautiful work of art, but I like it. I like looking at them. I like seeing them. I like seeing Volvos. Every time I see one out and about, it's always like, oh, yes, someone knows what's up, because this era is just so good, and the looks definitely reinforce that. But let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Volvo 850 GLT? Well, I have adored this driving experience. Like I said, the actual driving experience itself is rather okay. It's not super sporty. It's not really super memorable, but this car in general is super memorable because it is so reliable. It has that distinct, interesting, unique sound. And it's just one of those cars that when you see people driving it, you just say, yeah, they get it. They understand. They know what's up. And the owner, Ben, knows what's up. And honestly, this car frustrates me because I look at this, I get behind the wheel, I see that 331,000 miles and everything's operating properly and wonderfully. And then I look at modern Volvo. It's owned by Geely, who honestly doesn't feel like they really care about the brand. And before that, they were owned by Ford, which Ford didn't completely mismanage Volvo, but they definitely took some breath out of their lungs because the quality just went down when Ford was running the ship. So now looking at this, looking at how wonderful, how great, how sturdy, how strong, how magnificent Volvo used to be, it's horribly depressing to look at their new, quite honestly, junk. I like the XC90. I really love the XC90, and I like a lot of their sedans. And they drive great, they're a lot faster than this, all of that. But those are mechanical nightmares. I hear more horror stories about modern Volvo ownership than I do love stories. I have a friend who bought an S90 and it went to the shop 3 times in 3 months and was there for several weeks. The S60 Recharge that I had a few years ago had a check engine light the entire week that I had it. Those cars aren't built to last. This is when Volvo really built something special to last a long time. And now look, 30 years later, 331,000 miles later, it's doing everything it originally set out to do, and some. You can't say that about modern Volvo. And so I don't want to sound like one of those guys that said, oh, they used to be better. Modern cars are a lot safer, no doubt about that. But in terms of reliability, in terms of longevity, in terms of simplicity, you can't beat the Volvo 850 GLT. You just can't beat it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ben for letting me borrow his 850 and meeting me out here in snowy Chicago so I could review his 850. What a swell guy. Ben was absolutely wonderful to work with, so down to earth, super helpful, and obviously he owns something very, very cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.